All right, guys, so we're going to do a little review of comparing fractions. This time we're going to be using that strategy. Remember the strategy called power of 1. So remember that when you multiply any number by 1, you get the same number. So like 5 times 1 is 5. So the same thing with the fraction, using that power of 1, multiplying by a whole. So 4/4 is a whole, so multiplying by a whole will give you that same fraction, equivalent fraction. So we're going to start. I'm going to provide you with 2 fractions, and we're going to walk through comparing using that power of 1. So I'm going to use the fractions 2/3 and 5/8. All right, so we have to think about, if we look at their numerators, look at their denominators, there's nothing in common. So we can go ahead and we can see what is their common denominator. We can do this by listing the factors of 3 and 8 and seeing what they have in common. So we can see if we list out the factors 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, and I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to start listing the factors for 8. 8, 16, 24, and I realize that there's something they have in common. What they have in common is that 24. The other way I could do this, like I could take our denominators and I can multiply them. 3 times 8, so if I look at my denominators, I have the denominator 3, the denominator 8. I can multiply 3 and 8, and I know that I will get 24. That's going to be my new denominator. Okay, so remember, power of 1 is multiplying by a whole. So when the denominator and the numerator are the same, that is the whole. So how did I get from 3 to 24 is what I need to ask myself. Well, I multiplied by 8. Whatever I do to the denominator, I must do to the numerator. Remember, 8 over 8 is a whole. So 2 times 8 is 16. Here's my new numerator. I did the same thing for the other fraction. How did I get from 8 to 24? So I need to multiply by 3. Whatever I do to the numerator, I must do to the, whatever I do to the denominator, I must do to the numerator. So I'm going to do that same thing, because 3 over 3 is 1 whole. 5 times 3 is 15. Here's my new numerator. Now that I have these 2 fractions with the same denominators, going back to earlier this week, we can go ahead and we can compare using their numerators. We know that 16 is greater than 15. Therefore, we know that 2/3 is greater than 5/8. All right. So you can go ahead and apply this on your work that you're doing today.